Hello, welcome to the Confidence Mastery podcast. I'm very, very excited to bring this episode to you today. It is part of the Body Confidence series for women. And we have the incredible Laura Perkes joining us today. Welcome, Laura.
Hello. I'm excited to see what comes up today.
Me too. I'm very, very excited. I mean, I'm always excited to speak with you anyway. But I'm especially excited about this particular series and this topic. I think it's a really important thing that we as women need to embrace and really get to the bottom of having that body confidence in whatever shape, size, industry that we're in. Because as I actually said to somebody earlier, you have one place to live in, and that is your body.
Yeah.
And it's important to look after it. So before we dig into that, and I tell people exactly why I chose you to come on around this particular subject, because you have an incredible story to share. Could you give our listeners an introduction to yourself, who you are, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you. So as Natalie has said, I'm Laura Perkes. And officially, I'm a PR strategist, brand storyteller, and the founder of a boutique agency called PR with Perkes. But actually, underneath all the layers, I'm a champion of underdogs. And I don't mean that in the sense of people who, I don't know, sometimes I have to question whether underdogs is like a positive or a negative, or it speaks to the right people. But essentially, I see so many incredible women doing amazing things who are basically ripping up the rule book, saying fuck you to the patriarchy and saying I'm doing it this way and actually you guys can follow me. They're the women that I love to champion, because I am a rebel. I can be a rule breaker. And for me, I just get really excited about people who are saying fuck this shit, doing things their own way. And I want to be the one to help that catalyst, using, my 20 years experience in the PR industry to really elevate that message and get it to a wider audience.
I absolutely love that so much and resonate with it. What we do with our mastermind, our retreats, and like giving people that edge and pushing them to the forefront of who they are, like who you are as a person, and then being able to share that with the world with confidence. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
And I really love that you've taken that and gone, I'm going to do this for women. And I've been very outspoken about I'm not into all women groups, like for so long. And what I see in the world at the moment is actually a need for women to come together and to have that space and to hold that space and to be confident in their actions, in their body, in their mind, and in their business. And that's why I really enjoy, talking to you and bringing all of this together. And it just gives me and I specifically asked you for this series, this body confidence series, because I know you've been through, and I say this a lot as well, I hate the word journey, but you've been through a body transformational journey and different things in your mind, in your body, and have felt a different way at different times. I think it's a really important message to share from one end of the spectrum to another. And the way that you show up on social media, I mean, in yourself, and like you put yourself together very well. And like when we were talking about today, and I'm going to share this, I don't care if you want me to or not, I'm going to.
I'll go for it.
Do you do video too? Like, I'm just thinking about how do I show up, and that is something that actually does matter. And I want to share that you asked that for a reason. So when I do video, I show up usually with my hair done and my makeup on, and maybe some branding, maybe not, because of the way it makes me feel. not necessarily of whether it's going to go out to the public or not, because I've done videos like fresh out the gym, in the gym, like looking like the beast that I am, you know. So I find it really great that you asked the question and then you came back and tell us what you said.
I said the irony is not lost on the fact that we're talking about body confidence and body positivity, and I'm asking you how I should be presenting my appearance when I show up for our recording this afternoon.
And what did you decide to do?
I decided to fuck it and just show up in how I am today. I also have not brushed my hair. I haven't put any makeup on. I've thrown on a kimono, so I look more put together. But I have been outside today in a vest because the sun's out in the UK. So I just thought, do you know what? And similarly to what you've just said, normally when I show up, when I do have makeup on, it's because it makes me feel good. You know, I'm a massive fan of like pops of color. So most of the time when I'm on video, I will have a bright lip because I just think it helps people to remember you amongst the sea of all the other content that they're consuming that day. And I remember actually from years ago, and I'm talking years ago, when I had my interview to become a holiday rep, I was all in black, but I just had this like massive like orange belt, you know, like late 90s, early 2000s, where like massive belts were like in.
I had a big red one.
I had this massive orange belt, and somebody said to me, you just stood out because of that orange belt. So for me, and again, I don't do it on purpose. You know, that's just my style. I'm not doing it for any other reason. So I do like to wear a bold lip, but I just thought, you know what? It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK. I haven't been on calls today, but I mean, you know, I don't show up to calls. I mean, I've actually shown up to a call before in my pajamas because it was like 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. It was January. I was like, I'm not getting dressed to show up to a coaching call. So I do push the limit sometimes, but I just thought, no, I'm not going to make myself look a certain way so that your audience is like, oh my God, she's like way more professional because she's done her hair and makeup.
It's really interesting, isn't it? The perception that comes with that and from that. And this is something I was talking to somebody else about today. I was interviewed for her podcast. And like when I go and do talks, like my hair's done, I'll wear red lipstick. Like that's my signature. I've got my heels on. And it is about being memorable, and it shows a level of self-respect.
Yeah.
In that you care about how you're perceived to the audience, and it also gives them the respect, like in person.
Yeah.
Where online, I still haven't had a shower from the gym.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me any less professional. I'm still able to have the conversation, and I think that's a really important point to put across. When it comes to body confidence, how you feel in yourself, how would you describe how you feel about yourself in your body right now?
Oh dear. Is this a podcast or a therapy session?
Both. It has been often when I speak to people on the podcast, both ways, they're like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah. It's an interesting question because I don't have split personality disorder, but I very much have an angel and devil talking to me on a daily basis. And it depends where I am in any particular day as to which voice is louder. So right now at 5:25 on this Wednesday afternoon, I would say that my confidence in my body is an 8 out of 10.
Good.
There are adjustments and tweaks that I am making that have been a long time coming, but based on previous experience, I almost had to rip up my own belief system and rule book because of something I did a couple of years ago that is still lingering with me. And I'm having to just break it down into baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels good because I'm removing the pressure.
The pressure of
My own level of expectation in terms of how I should look.
how do you think you should look?
I think I should have a flat stomach. I think I should have a more athletic physique. The crazy thing is, I do have this. It's just hiding under several layers of fat that I've allowed to build up over the last few years. But so essentially, and we'll probably get into this shortly, but 2019, I was training for a bikini fitness competition and decided not to compete. Then obviously my weight increased and then I was maintaining. So I'd probably maintained, I'd put on £2 when we went on honeymoon, but to be honest, for a 10-day all inclusive, £2, I was like, well, it's nothing, it's a poo. But when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden, I wasn't able to go to the gym 4 times a week. And I was out of my usual habits. And then, that was it. I remember now. So I was okay to begin with. And then it was my birthday. So obviously it's my birthday the same time every year, like towards the end of April. And I remember thinking, right, I'm going to have a cheat day. The amount of food and alcohol that I was given for my birthday, like cheat day turned into cheat week. And for me, it takes so long to reform habits that my eating then just continued on this kind of downward spiral of, I'm just going to eat what I want. Don't really care. Now looking back, I realized that I was an emotional eater and I've had to do stuff to like work on that and reframe stuff. And now it's even to the point, and I had this conversation. I had sports massage on Saturday. I was having a conversation with my therapist. And I said to her, I'm even considering setting an alarm so that I eat lunch at lunchtime every day. Because what happens is, I'll kind of wake up when I wake up, and then I'll eat breakfast when I'm hungry. So it could be 10, half 10, 11 o'clock before I have breakfast. I then don't want food at 1. At 2 o'clock, I might be like, I'm starting to feel a bit hungry. But then it's like 3 o'clock before I'm like, fuck, I haven't eaten. And at which point I'm then over hungry. So I'm preparing food, but then I'm also shoving in as much as I can because I'm so freaking hungry. I'm not then using that snack as my meal. I'm then still eating the meal on top of the snack. So, so I'm having to be more mindful of, is my body hungry? And like on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I? Because if I'm like a 7 or 8, I know that it's danger zone. But equally, if I'm like a 3 or 4, I know that I don't need to worry about eating just yet. But around like a 6, I'm like, okay, let's prepare food, because by the time it's ready, you're probably going to be towards that 7 or 8. So it's I guess it's just actually allowing my body and my brain to work on the same time zone, so that I'm not having these kind of like spikes of I'm really fucking hungry, and then oh god, the guilt of why at 40 years old can I not eat lunch like a normal person? So it's actually like this really big shift that I've gone through, because, and as you know, when you're kind of cutting for a competition or a photo shoot or anything that you want to cut for, you're so rigid in your routine. And I remember at the time, my brother and sister-in-law just had a baby, and my mum invited us all round for Sunday lunch. We were eating at like midday, and it was like, I can't eat at midday. I don't have lunch until 2.
That's far too early for lunch for me too.
Yeah. So they'd literally all sit there tucking into a roast dinner, and I'd be on my black coffee because if I had lunch at 12, that would have just thrown my entire day.
Yeah.
I knew that by like 9, 10 o'clock, I'd be starving, and I knew I didn't have any calories left until the next morning. So it's just this.
It's finding the balance, isn't it? And finding out like what really works for you, and eating intuitively, like you say, cooking before you're hungry.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll just eat anything that's in sight. Like, and this work for me is why meal prep is so good, because it's there. I know I've cooked it, I know what's gone into it, and I know when I'm hungry, or if I'm hungry, it's there. I go and eat it. I can just pick it up.
Yeah.
And I think this is often where a lot of people fall down. Like by the end of the day, you've got decision fatigue. You've done so much during the day.
Yeah.
You might have had breakfast, you might have had lunch, you might have skipped lunch, and then you just cannot be fucked come the evening. So you'll order a takeaway, or you'll put pizza in the oven, because your brain physically cannot compute anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty dangerous place to be in, and where things can spiral. And then the more you do that, the worse you feel. And then you start being mean to yourself. And then that's even harder to get out of.
Yeah.
So if you can notice those trigger points before they become a problem, you're able to get rid of all of that nonsense that doesn't serve you, because you ultimately, you need to do the things which serve you. And actually, props to you for going, I'm not eating at 12 o'clock. I'm off Sunday lunch at 12 o'clock. Who does that?
That's it. Especially not when you're cutting.
No, like I've recently just started back with my fitness pal, just to track absolutely everything.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
If I don't want to write it down, it doesn't go in my body. So that tells me a lot about the choices that I'm making. And actually, that's a recommendation that I'd give to anybody, like keep a food journal.
Yeah.
So that you understand, and also your emotions around it, like how do you feel?
Yeah.
Why are you picking up one thing as opposed to another? And yeah, like you say, when you're cutting, you do have to be a lot stricter and a lot more stringent, and I can say no so much.
Yeah. Especially to lunch at midday. It's like, no.
I have breakfast around 11.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fathom having lunch at 12. But then that's my lifestyle, and that's your lifestyle, and the way that we choose to live our lives. And you said about competing, and you decided to compete and then decided not to.
Yeah.
Now, I really want to talk about this, because I have thought about competing on and off for the past 10 years. I know I could do it. I know I've got the discipline to do it. I decided not to for many reasons. What made you decide to do it? And then what made you decide not to do it?
So it's probably good to put this into context, and that for most of my adult life, I haven't been happy with how I look and or feel. And I had met someone, another female business owner, out networking, and she trained for a bikini fitness competition, and she looked amazing. Like, she looked incredible. I think she competed in 2 competitions, placed in both of them, and I was just like, oh my God, that's what I need to do. The thing is with me, and I've really noticed this recently, and I've decided to actually use it as rocket fuel, is I have to have a really big, scary goal to actually give me the drive and the motivation to push myself to achieve it. Otherwise, I'm happy with what I've got. Okay. But equally, it's like, no, there's like way more potential. Just put a bit more effort in over a short period of time and see what happens. So I almost had to scare myself into sticking to a food and training plan. So I was working with a personal trainer at the time, and I've been going to the gym and seeing personal trainers for years. And I was a bit like, no, I'm going to go and work with this bikini fitness coach and I'm going to be on stage in September. Now, rightly or wrongly, this particular coach probably should have done more work on me to almost say, I don't think you can get to that point in 9 months. And even when I said to my personal trainer, this is what I'm doing, even she said, look, let's do this over 18 months because, you know, there's a long way for you to go. And it was like, no, my friend's done it in 9 months, therefore, so can I. So, you know, I did. And, you know, I stuck to the food plan and I stuck to the training plan. And I was checking in with her. So I think every fortnight I met up with her face to face. She'd weigh me, we'd do pictures, we'd take measurements. And it was doing what I needed to do. Around about the summertime, I then started working with my posing coach. And then I had my initial appointment with the lady who was doing my stage bikini. And I remember, you know, when you just remember stuff so vividly, it was like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I remember it was an August bank holiday. And on the Monday, was it before that? Anyway, let's just say it was in the August, and I went for a posing session, and my posing coach, like, God love her for saying this, because I know it's not easy for a woman to talk about another woman's weight, but she said to me, I thought you'd be leaner than you are at this stage.
Oh.
So bearing in mind, I was probably 6, maybe 7 weeks out from competing. And I was a little bit like, okay. And I think about a week or 2 later, I then went for a follow-up appointment with the lady who was making my stage bikini. And you know, you can just see in someone's eyes. And bearing in mind, she's competed, she's still teeny tiny. Her face just said it all. And I was like, she doesn't think I'm lean enough either. And it was then, that was it. Then it was the bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Gone to stay with Hayden's mother-in-law down in Norfolk. And I prepped everything, you know, as you do. You have everything in your packed lunch box and you take everything with you. And I remember we were driving home and Hayden was like, I'm really hungry, I'm going to pull into McDonald's. I could have murdered him, right? So I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, just get me a black coffee. So he sat there eating this McDonald's and I was like, I don't know what else to do. I said, I cannot eat fewer calories and do any more exercise. So I was on just over like 1,300 calories. I was doing a half-hour walk in the morning. I was doing an hour uphill treadmill walk in the evening, plus 4 times a week I was strength training. It was like, how much more? I don't know how much more to do. And he said to me, you're going to have to start taking drugs.
Huh?
And I was like, I don't want it enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it enough to start taking drugs to strip the fat off. And, you know, I hadn't really said any of this to my bikini fitness coach, because at this time I was then kind of starting to resent, not necessarily her, but maybe the reality of what I was able to achieve.
Mm.
And I think we had a problem with one of our dogs. You know, we had to rush her to the emergency vet one Monday night. She was like on death's door. And I thought, it's not fucking worth it. The stress that this competition is putting me under, because you're just constantly, I was either hungry, tired, or just a fucking nightmare to live with, because I was either hungry or tired. Hungry,
welcome to my world.
eating, sleeping, training. And I thought, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not doing it, you know, I'm not lean enough. I can just tell. And
So, go on.
No, I was going to say, I remember messaging my personal trainer. So throughout this whole experience, the bikini fitness coach, I wasn't personal training with her. I was just going to the gym and doing my own. She gave me the program and I followed it. Then after a while, I was like, maybe I'm not pushing myself enough. I'll sign up with a personal trainer who's also competed on stage. He's, you know, won trophies for natural bodybuilding. And I sent him a message and I said to him, I'm not competing. And he was like, can I call you? I said, yeah. He phoned me up and he said, can I ask how you've made this decision? And I told him, and he said, Laura, I'm being completely honest with you. He was like, she never should have told you. You could have done this in 9 months. He said, he said, you do whatever you want to do. I will support you 100%, but you're making the right decision. And I just felt like a massive weight off my shoulder.
Yeah.
Then when I said to the bikini fitness coach, I'm not doing it, she was then like, why aren't you doing it? You said that you'd compete if you got to this weight. And it's like, look, for me, I cannot put myself on stage alongside all these other women when I've still got a fucking roll of fat on my tummy. Like, do I look like a dickhead?
What made you say no rather than deferring?
Because I realised that being on stage wasn't the goal.
So what was the goal?
The goal was losing weight and proving to myself I could do it. And the crazy thing is, in all of it, it's the smallest I've probably been since I was a teenager, was toned. But I remember going out and buying a pair of size 10 jeans and thinking, I'm not a size 10. Nah, these jeans must be bigger. They must be manufacturing clothes bigger these days, because I'm not a 10. So I didn't even appreciate what I had.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, I wish I could get one leg into the jeans.
I can't buy size 10s.
No. And at the minute, you know, I've had to go up to a size 16 jeans and be like, do you know what? My comfort means more to me at the minute than my ego still wanting to get into a 14. You know, my body is changing. I'm getting older. Hormones and stuff are happening. And it's almost like I'm now, and my sports massage therapist has been saying this for ages. So she's like, Laura, you just have to find what works well that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
Last year, I remember I had COVID.
Have you really just said that on this podcast? Sorry, you had a cold, right? You had a cold.
I had a cold. I tested positive for COVID, but basically I just didn't feel very well for a week. And I remember I was binge watching Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian. And I was a bit like, I could do a 12-week body transformation. Yeah, fuck it. Messaged my PT and was like, right, I'm going to do this. Oh, like in hindsight, it was like, I was under so much stress last year anyway, with like the business and growth and writing this fucking book. And I was like,
which is excellent, by the way.
Thank you. I really didn't need to be throwing in a 12-week body transformation. And I was just getting pissed off. I wasn't losing weight. He was like, I don't want you to cut your calories. You just need to move more. It's like, I haven't got time to move more. And now I look at it and I'm like, my body I didn't have the capacity to be trying to lose weight and doing the things that worked previously. But I didn't want to be told, actually, there might be another way of achieving what you want to achieve without doing what you want to do. Then I ended up with tennis elbow. I had RSI in both arms. I had, what did I have? I tweaked a muscle in my groin, you know, and it's like
all of the things happened. But that's almost like all of those things happened because it was a sign that you shouldn't have been doing that.
Yes. Yeah, which I know now, like 6 months later. But again, it kind of forced me to stop. and just be like, what the fuck are you doing? So even now, you know, I've known that I don't want to still carry the weight that I've gained during lockdown, but I don't want to do what I did before to lose all the weight. But you get drawn back into, if you count calories every day and if you just watch what you eat, and I've been resistant to it. I don't want to end up weighing fucking lettuce and tomatoes and rah, 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 rah. Whereas 3 weeks ago I was like, to the point, right, I'm going to admit this. I said to Hayden, I might even have to rejoin Slimming World just to kickstart. Right, I don't stand for, do you know what, if it works for you, crack on, but I don't believe in the philosophy. And I was like, I can't even do that. I cannot go to that group where I've been on and off for years and actually look at the fucking smug look on the woman's face.
On that woman's face, yeah.
I was like, I can't. And I was like, babe, you have the answers. You have the answers. But I had to be literally, mentally, physically, spiritually ready to say, no, your health is now a priority. And it's health now.
Yeah.
And how I move, I want to enjoy a slower pace. Like when I had the sports massage on Saturday, there was a class going on in the studio, and I was walking across the car park, and all I could hear was breathe, breathe. And I thought, what the fuck are they doing in there that she's having to remind people to breathe?
But the thing is, you do have to remind people to breathe, because otherwise they hold their breath. It's ridiculous. It's like you forget. Like breathing is something we do like without thinking.
Yeah.
But when you add exercise in, you fucking forget to breathe. It's insane.
It is insane. But I laughed because I thought, like 5-10 years ago, I'd have been in that class, and actually I'd have been doing back-to-back classes. And I just thought, it's not me anymore. I just want a more holistic approach to life. So I'm doing more Pilates. I am walking more often. Haven't yet formed the daily habit, but I'm like, look, you're doing more than you were 2 weeks ago. So have gratitude for that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like being grateful for, one, what you've learned, but two, where you're at right now, and appreciating and acknowledging the positive steps that you're taking to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Like the end goal doesn't have to be standing on stage in a bikini. Like I decided not to compete because actually it's very unhealthy and it's very unsociable.
Yeah.
Discipline that goes into doing it, and I know I could do it.
Yeah.
But like I said to you earlier, like abs to Vegas month for my birthday, but that's 5 months away.
Yeah.
I can do that slowly. I don't have the mental capacity to eat 1,200 calories a day and run the businesses and do the new things and everything else on top of it.
No.
Like that isn't my priority. I'm already doing as much as I can possibly do and enjoying it. You add hangry Natalie into that, I'm gonna be fucking useless to everybody and anyone around me. So understanding what your goals are, how you want to feel and how you want to get there is a huge step into owning yourself and owning your own confidence.
Yeah.
And going, this is who I am, this is where I'm at, where I want to be, maybe not where I am right now, but I know I'm taking the steps to get there. Yeah. And being grateful for where you're at right now. It's a huge thing to acknowledge.
Yeah, but again, that hasn't happened overnight. You know, the pandemic first hit 3 years ago.
I find that really, really interesting. I know a lot of people used that as an excuse to eat more, to drink more.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't lost the weight. I put on weight because of okay, fine, but yeah, we're 3 years down the line now.
Yeah.
I quit drinking in that first lockdown.
Yeah.
Because like for me as well, I got stuck in York. I was away from home, was by myself. Literally, I had six apartments in one block that were mine. to myself,
Yeah.
right? Because they shut the fucking world down. We had holiday lets. Like, what could I do?
Yeah.
So I drank a bottle of rum every day.
Wow, okay, yeah.
And
Why
I
not?
thought to myself, right, if I can stop drinking in this situation,
Yeah.
I've cracked life.
Yeah.
So I made myself a little tick sheet, and a memory came up the other day, actually. I don't know how I'm doing this, but I am. I was like 21 days in. I did 31 days. If I can do 30 days, I'll crack life. I did 31.
Yeah.
And
You
it made
did
a
that, didn't you,
huge.
just to be stubborn?
I was gonna do 45 once, and I was kind of, I've done 31 right now.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to drinking how I was before. Just to put that out there. But I don't believe that people can use that as an excuse not to look after yourself now. And if anything, the past 3 years should have taught people that your health is of the utmost importance.
Yeah.
And you should be looking after it.
Yeah.
And being able to look in the mirror and be happy and confident and comfortable with what you see. And if you're not, you need to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally it. And, you know, what I have realized is I was an emotional eater. So if I'm happy and I'm celebrating, it's like, oh, yeah, let's have a takeaway. Oh, yeah, let's go out for dinner. Or if I'm stressed, I then don't eat because obviously like my cortisol levels are so high and I'm in such a state of like overwhelm that when I'm able to then relax, it's like I'm fucking starving. I don't want to cook, but I'll wait 45 minutes for a takeaway.
I don't own a microwave.
Most meals I can cook within 45 minutes.
I don't own a microwave, so I have to cook.
Yeah. I mean, I have a microwave, but I'm kind of I don't love it.
It's a bit like think about a jacket potato. You put it in a microwave and it's edible, but you put it in the oven and you've got like a bit of olive oil and salt on it, and God, right?
Game changer.
So, right, think about it this way. You shortcut the cooking process with a microwave and it doesn't turn out that great. When you are patient and wait, you get brilliant results.
Yeah.
So why not apply that to our goals for our bodies?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
9 months could have been 18 and you may not have given up and you may have carried on and gone on to compete.
Yeah. But
you were pushed in the wrong direction by the wrong person. And I think that's a really important point to address. Getting the right support for your needs, and that they're aligned with your goals and your own mental state, your own mindset.
Yeah.
Like, how did it feel when these two women are like, I thought you would have been leaner by now?
Can you repeat that? Because my internet connection went funny.
How did you feel when those two women said to you, I thought you would have been leaner by now?
I'm trying to take myself back so that I'm kind of almost answering how I felt in the moment rather than how I feel about it now.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't see it as a negative. You know, if somebody walked up to me in the street today and said, you don't look lean enough, I'd probably fucking wipe them out. But you could argue that's because I know I'm not lean enough. So they touched a nerve.
Yeah.
But when they said it in that moment, and I'd already started having doubts about whether I was going to be ready. So the fact that they'd both one of them said it, and the other, I could just see it on her face. It was almost like that was the confirmation I needed that I was right.
Did that then give you permission to go, I'm not doing this?
Yeah, I guess in a way it did. And it's interesting because actually now with the business, and I talk with my business manager about SMART goals. She's like, I hate SMART goals. She said, I prefer smarter goals. She said, because then if you don't achieve the goal in the time frame, it wasn't the goal that was wrong, it was the time frame. But I would argue that competing was never the thing. And I remember at the time, one of our PR clients, she was a psychotherapist, and she was all about self-esteem. And she kept saying to me, I don't understand why you're doing this, because this isn't you, because you're all about people showing up and embracing who they are. It's about women empowering other women. Like, I cannot get my head around the fact that you say that you stand for positivity, but then you're telling me that you want to compete on stage. And it's like, yeah, no, I get it. But I think it's because the standing on the stage wasn't the dream. It was
what was the dream?
Just to lose weight and stick to something for more than like 3 or 4 months. I know, it's nuts.
It's not actually, because if you think about it, having that deadline, that goal of I'm going to go and compete, gave you the drive to make the changes. And although the end goal wasn't what happened, it gave you many tools and other different things to be able to implement and continue.
Yeah.
To learn to love your body. So whilst you were going through that, were you looking at yourself thinking, I love you, I love this body? No.
It was constantly, this isn't enough. It's not enough. And I'm not prepared to stand on a stage and be judged by other people compared to what the people around me look like.
And again, that's another reason I decided not to compete, because I don't do it for external validation. I do it for my own validation and my own mental health. And also, if I was to compete like bikini, I'd have to forego probably 50% of my strength. Yeah. And I'm not willing to do that.
No.
Like,
yeah. It's nuts, because actually when I look, and this was the other thing, I wouldn't go as far as saying I was obsessed, but I was then almost looking at other women competing on stage and thinking, but I have curves and I have muscle. And when I look at a lot of the bikini models now, I don't want to look like that. That doesn't inspire me.
No.
And actually, I am probably more, I forget what the categories are now, but I am a lot more muscular. So actually, I'm not really a bikini fitness.
It would probably be like physique.
Yeah, that's it. Physique, yeah.
There's a lady, she's putting on they're doing their second competition this year, and she invited me to last year, and she said you would be great in this category. Again, I can't remember I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm like, yeah, I would, but I don't want to. And then when I saw them running it again this year, it's in August, and I could get ready for that by August.
Yeah,
I know I could.
Yeah,
but do I want to stand on stage in a bikini that cost me £400 and learn how to pose? That's not my stage.
This is it. Yeah,
my stage is this podcast. It is my retreats, my masterminds. It's my public speaking. I'd rather spend £400 on a pair of Jimmy Choos.
This is it. I mean, when I look at how much money I invested in that whole journey, and the fact that I even I actually had to pay for my bikini, even though I wasn't competing. She was like, no. Well, she don't. Well, interestingly, I was actually buying the top off the peg because it was one that she'd made as a demo. I just loved the colour and I loved the jewels. So all she had to do was the knickers. So I was like, but you've already, the bikini top existed. And she was just like, no, you pay me. So yeah, I literally handed over 750 quid for something that I didn't even have. I don't even own it.
And she didn't even send it to you?
Huh?
You're fucking kidding me. Who is this person?
I can't even remember her name now. I'd have to. What was it? I can't remember, but she does a lot of show bikinis. But I was just a little bit like, you taking the piss? Even if that hangs in my wardrobe for nostalgia.
Oh, mate, that is a conversation for another episode, I think. We'll talk about that off there.
It's
From
crazy.
that, obviously, you decided not to compete. You've gone on a different journey, and like me, you've done a photo shoot, different kind of photo shoot. I want to talk about this because this is a kind of photo shoot I want to do, except I've got no one to give the pictures to at the moment.
Oh no, my pictures are just on my hard drive.
Oh no, like I know that I want to like, and I think that every woman should go and do some kind of boudoir shoot.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel having those pictures taken?
Oh, I felt amazing. And actually the catalyst to having them done was to almost feel empowered in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And the photographer that I chose is based like way up north somewhere. I think I drove like 4 or 5 hours to get there, stayed in a hotel overnight. I was in hair and makeup longer than I was in front of the camera lens. The actual photo shoot probably took less than an hour. But she just knew how to work the female body.
Yeah.
That gave me great pictures. And it's funny because even when I was like 14, 15, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so fat. And now I'm like, there was nothing of you. You were like a size 8 to 10 for fuck's sake. So again, I think the photo shoot, I think was in 2017, 2018. And I think I was probably smaller then than I was now, but I'm actually probably more comfortable and confident in who I am now than I was. But I just look at those pictures and I just feel like, fuck yeah, girl, you go for it. Like if you said to me now, right, we're going to do a photo shoot tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like, I'll get my kit off. Like I don't have hang-ups in that sense.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not around other naked women all the time. So I don't know what other people have got going on. I don't know what other people look like. And
come to Spain, go to the gym, go in the changing room. I swear to God, you will see so many naked women.
I bet, yeah. Yeah.
They have no, like, I know the British are quite prudish and like we don't share our bits and pieces unless you're on OnlyFans. But like I go into the change rooms in the gym and like these women will have a full-on conversation with me, butt naked. And like I'm like, where do I look? I'm just trying to stare in their eyes.
Well, this is it, because it's then almost like, because we're not used to it. You know, when like you see a car accident, you can't help but watch.
But watch, yeah.
Because we're not used to being so naked around each other and so relaxed. So yes, I can get my kit off for a photo shoot. Would I be able to walk around a gym talking to people? I don't know if I could.
I wouldn't, and part of that for me is like there are certain bits that are not for everyone to see. And I am no prude at all in any way, shape, or form. But I do think you should have some decorum around some parts of yourself. And I live in a bikini, so I am used to seeing pretty much naked people all the time. And even then, I don't know. I think that that's something else to explore, is like being around other nakedness.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really like that you did that photo shoot, that it empowered you, it made you feel good, and like now you're looking at those photos going like and feeling amazing about it. And that's one of the ones that I want to do. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel doing that with my videographer. We're really good friends. I think for that, I think you do need somebody that is used to doing that kind of style and knows the right way to do it and to make you feel comfortable. And then did you take anything from that, take away from that and go, I can now apply this to my day-to-day life?
It was almost, and again, like years ago, I did need external validation. It's not the case now. But I think it was almost a, you are enough as you are. Although I honestly think you have to embody that phrase. It's not something that we just put out there and hope it sticks, because it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Like, that takes inner work. But I think it was almost, I can look that good. And I remember at the time, because she was very much like Hollywood glamour. So I love that burlesque vibe. What I didn't realise was quite how airbrushed she was going to make the skin.
Okay.
And I remember actually feeling slightly disappointed that you couldn't see my stretch marks on my cellulite.
Interesting.
Because I almost wanted to see a visual representation back of me of what I see in the mirror.
Right.
I have stretch marks and I have cellulite, and I want to celebrate that because it's part of who I am. So I remember feeling, do you know what? I haven't thought about this in a long time. But yeah, I actually felt annoyed that my skin had been kind of airbrushed so it looked flawless, because it's not flawless. No one's skin is.
No one's skin, no. And that's the issue the young women face, and why they don't like who they are and what they look like, because of all the airbrushing and the cinching of the waist, and like the widening of the hips, and the airbrushing the skin. Like, we all have fucking pores.
Yeah.
And like all of that, it's unrealistic. It sets these unrealistic expectations that are literally unattainable. So if you could give some advice to yourself when you were, say, 17, 18 about looking at your body, what would that be?
Wow. Okay. Now I'm 40. That's a long way back. You're asking me to go. 17 or 18. Do you know what? I would look at my body and thank it for everything it allows me to do. You know, I have all of my limbs, everything is working, I'm very healthy. And actually, even over the years, all the stress it's been under from all the different types of exercise that I've tried, that I've loved, some of it that I've done just to lose weight. And I'm like, thank you for sticking with me. Because I haven't always been kind. I haven't always been kind. I'm still not always kind. And every now and then I'll catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I'm like, you're like, this sounds awful, but you're really not that bad. Like, although sometimes, and again, I didn't think I'd ever admit this, but it's now coming out. Sometimes I feel like I have body dysmorphia, but in the other direction. Like, I actually think I look smaller than I sometimes I'll catch an angle and I'm like, oh my God, oh, is that really how my back looks? Because I don't see my back, it's behind me.
Yeah.
So then when I see a picture, I'm like, oh, okay, you are quite. And I said to you months ago that when I'm training, I often feel really like gorilla-like, because I then get quite muscular on top, and I see pictures.
I've got a bit broader, like you're like me.
Yeah.
You've got broader frame.
Yeah. So when I see other women and I'm like, they don't look like that, to the point, right? And this is utterly ridiculous. And I'll try and do a visual representation. I can't get that up my arm. So basically, my so my tricep is there, right?
Yeah.
But I always thought I had just like really chunky arms, because I've actually, like, my shoulders are actually quite normal, and then it comes down and then there's like this bulge.
It goes out of it.
Yeah. Which I hone in on, obviously. And it was only a couple of months ago I realized, babe, that's actually muscle. Touch it. Solid.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Feel it.
Yeah. And I was a bit like, okay, yeah, there's not much I can do there.
No, because otherwise then you're into muscle wastage, and you don't want that. I completely understand how you feel like about like looking from behind. Like, I really like the from behind shots, like where you're looking back and stuff, and like, I want to see what I see from the front and the back. And I do look at myself in an outfit, and I've got the mirror in the mirror to check myself out from behind. I do that. I don't even care what people think. I do that. And my back is so big. It is big, and I'm like, I don't like that. But how I can't change my frame.
That's it. Yeah.
So I need to change my mindset around what is there. And the leaner I get, the more actual like muscle you'll see. So it's that process, and the slow process, and the mindset shifts around it, and accepting, actually, this is the shape I have. I've always had broad shoulders. I have a large back. I also have a great arse. You know, I'm short, but I've got great legs. Like, it's going and understanding that one part of your body does not make or break who you are as a person.
No.
And accepting your body as a whole. And like you said, like, thank you, being thankful for your body work, for looking after you, for taking you from place to place.
Yeah.
And allowing your mind to connect with it. Because otherwise, like, what do we have? Like I said at the beginning, you know, you have one place to live in.
That's
you
it.
can move house as many times as you like, but your body's going with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important that we do learn to love our bodies and appreciate them, and be womanly in every manner that we can possibly be as a woman. And it's okay for women to have muscles, and it's okay for women to have fat, and to have that extra bit around the hips and your stomach, because we're meant to bear children, whether we choose to have them or not. Is irrelevant, right? But our bodies are the way that they are, and that's biology. So we have to accept that those parts, like, it's fucking hard to get abs as a woman.
Yeah. Well, because that's not our genetic predisposition, you know.
No.
We don't have enough. I mean, again, I'm not a personal trainer, so shoot me down if this is bullshit. We don't have the testosterone that we need to create abs like that.
No, and the reason we have the excess there is to protect the baby.
Yeah.
And that's why it is the way it is. That's why our pelvis is wider, to allow for the baby to be there. And that's why men can't bear children.
Yeah.
they're straight up and down. We go in and out.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because obviously, you know, lots of learnings over the pandemic have put weight on. Like, the good news is that my weight has actually maintained for like a year or so. So it's almost like, okay, I know I can maintain. I have a platform to work from. I'm not gaining weight, okay? So let's celebrate that. Now it's all about doing the things to do to get to where I want to be. But I have noticed that I have almost like spread. And, you know, I'm now 40, and recently I was like, oh my God, it is actually middle age spread. But I'm not using it as an excuse, it's almost, oh yes, all those things we used to like laugh at when we were kids. It's true. And again, my body's like, bitch, you've not had children yet. Like, seriously. How many more layers of fat can we put on you to like get you ready? And it's like, I'm never going to be ready. But again, I could use these as an excuse, or I could own up to the fact that I have not made the right choices for me. But I'm now going to do something about it.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to women to help them to make the right choices, to give them the body confidence to achieve the goals that they want?
Oh, how do you choose one thing? I mean, you're not even asking me to choose one thing. I would say, and again, this isn't like something that happens overnight, but, and I'm not going to say be your authentic self, because that's not easy to do either. It's
Is it not?
Well,
is it not? Can you not just be you?
Well, you can be. I mean, I am just, yeah, okay. Oh, interesting. I guess who you are in real life versus who you are on social media, and the perception that comes with that. That's probably what I've got the beef with, not the fact that. Anyway, I'd say it's about like reconnection, and it's about actually treating mind, body, spirit as one, and just thinking, what's the best way of moving forward every day from a place of gratitude, where I'm just going to feel like I've been the best person, that I've nourished myself with the best food, that I've done all that I can to feel amazing. And if that means literally laying on the sofa all day watching Netflix because you're having you don't feel like it, amazing. I still want you to feel amazing at the end of the day. The turning point for me was removing should from my vocabulary. Because like, what the fuck does it even mean? You should what?
So fucking powerful. I had this conversation with someone a few years ago, and it was like, oh, but I should be here. And I said, why?
Yeah.
Why should you? And they just like, they were stunned into silence.
Yeah.
And I thinking about it, okay, well, where could you be instead?
Yeah.
So that is remove that word from your vocabulary. Should is fucking bollocks.
Yeah,
put it politely.
Yeah. And also just taking ownership of the bullshit that you're gonna tell yourself. Because we all have a choice, and whether it's the right choice or the wrong choice, we've made it, and therefore we have to come to terms with the fact we made it. You know, for 2 years I overate. I've probably been an emotional eater all of my adult life, but I only realized 2 years ago. Now I can do something about it.
Because you know.
Because I know. And sometimes there are ugly things that we have to realize about ourselves, that we're like, okay, I don't like that, but let's learn to get on with it, and then we can learn to like it, and then we can love it, and then we can reframe it.
Definitely.
And I remember years ago, my dad, God bless my dad, I mean, he's still alive, that just made it sound like he's passed. But I remember him saying to me, but Laura, nobody knows what size your clothes are. If you feel good, you are going to rock the confidence. People aren't going to be like, oh, what size are your jeans?
Then no one in the fucking world is going to ask you that.
No
one. And do you know what's really interesting actually on sizing? Last year I went away with a friend, and we are of a very similar mindset. Like, we train hard, we track food, like all of that. And she wears a size 6. And I'm like, I guarantee you I will not get one leg in your jeans, right? Now, I'm not fat, I'm not large. My BMI says I'm obese because I have a lot of muscle. I'm short.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, and she's looking at me going, but there's nothing to you, like, as in terms of like grabby on.
Yeah.
Give me your jeans. Give me your jeans. I got her jeans just over my knees. And she's going, what on earth? And I'm just like, and she's like, I never would have thought that. So really, like your dad is, well, not really, your dad is right, and he was right in saying that. And actually, the size of the clothes that you wear are fucking irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think that they fit you, because one shop to another is all different sizes anyway.
Oh, it's fucked.
You, and then you feel good in them. It doesn't matter what the number on the label says. This is why when we launch our range, we aren't going to have small, medium, large. They're going to be called different things.
Yeah. And actually, during lockdown, I came across this. I think they're Australian, or they might be American, but gym kit clothing brand called Girl Clothing, who don't have sizes, they have athlete shapes. And it's almost like you then almost start to actually feel like you're part of a tribe, because you know who your athlete is. Now, for my lower body, my athlete is almost like one of these people that like toss the kaiba. Do you know what I mean? But you need a solid lower body to fucking lift that shit. Whereas my chest more or less is almost like, yeah, you're someone else. I think at one
You're someone else, darling.
I can't think, but so again, it's like my entire body isn't one athlete. You know, I've got the upper body of a smaller athlete and the lower body of a more powerful athlete, but you still feel amazing.
Yeah. And it negates the need for putting a label or a value on the side.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want to get across with this series, this body confidence series for women, because we place so much value on the size or what that says about us. And, you know, we as a species, as humans, we have got larger over the past 100 years because we feed ourselves with shit food that is full of GMOs and is processed and over processed crap. What you really need is meat, vegetables, butter, and eggs. Like, just like, that's all you need. Like, fuck the microwave off and get away from that shit.
Yeah.
But your value and your self-worth should not be determined by what number the label says or what letter it is. Like, your shape, you know, dress for your shape. I recently had my colours done and went shopping with a personal stylist because we're looking at, like, can blow my mind, because I find it so difficult to find clothes, and like, it's a business expense because it's research.
Of course.
But like looking at like the cuts, and actually I found that I needed the smaller size than I thought in my head, because it fit better and looked better and hugged my shape better than me thinking I'm larger because I have all of this muscle.
Yeah.
So if we take that away, if we take away the label, it's okay, let me just try this on. Does it fit? Great. If it doesn't, we'll try a different one on.
Yeah.
I love that. I really love that.
Yeah. And it makes such a difference as well to your shopping experience.
Yeah, I fucking hate shopping. I'll tell you why I hate shopping. Women shop on a Saturday afternoon and I watch football.
Yeah.
My dad took me football, and all the girls, like, they went shopping and I went football. So I made friends with men.
Yeah.
And boys. Like, I didn't make friends with men when I was a young girl. That was wrong.
All right. It's all coming out now.
All right, it's all right. It was all perfectly legal.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm messing with you. But yeah, there is a lot of emphasis put on appearance, and you just think at the end of the day, does it matter? And you know, I had this conversation with myself a couple of months ago. I've never been called names. Like, no one's ever been like, "Oh, you're a fat bitch," or, you know, Hayden's never said, "Oh, babe, like, you knock
Lose
me."
a bit of weight. Yeah.
Yeah, never. So everything's, it's all me.
Yeah. All in your mind and your head.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, actually. And this is something I was speaking about earlier. There is value on the way that you look, and there is value on your weight from one regard. In that, so this, I'm going to tell you exactly what I said earlier. I would have, and I do have more respect for people, not that they're thinner, because that's the wrong terminology, but when I see somebody that clearly looks after themselves,
Yeah.
I respect them more than an obese person. Because I train, I see the discipline, the routine, the motivation, and everything that goes into creating that physique. Now, if you're neglecting your health and you are obese and needing like a triple XL and you can't walk up a flight of stairs, if you're neglecting that body and you're neglecting your health, what other things are you neglecting in your life, in your business, in your relationship?
Yeah.
So I do think that there is some importance and some value and some respect to be put upon a certain look, but not just on like whether you're fat or not. I think that you can be healthy and a little larger, but if you're well put together and you're clean and you've done your hair and you've put your mascara on and you've put some clean clothes on, I have respect for that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not one thing or the other. But you have to look after your body and then learn to have the body confidence to go with it. And I really don't like the body positivity movement where they're putting obese women on the front of magazines.
No.
Because it's not promoting a healthy lifestyle.
No.
You can get to a certain point and you're still healthy enough, but I think that goes beyond, and that isn't something that is, in my opinion, promoting a healthy lifestyle. That is just like giving people an excuse to be obese.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, I am heavier now than I would like to be, but I have my blood pressure monitored, you know, every couple of months at the doctor's. My blood pressure's okay. If I need to sprint up the road for something, I can without having a heart attack. So it's almost like the shell of my body isn't me. I mean, do you know what I mean? It is me, but the shape of my body doesn't define who I am. Like, as a human, I'm you know, I'm healthy. I do eat good food. The trouble is, you know, for many different emotional reasons, I then eat the wrong food. But it's all behaviour. It's all behaviour led. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, I met up with another woman in business who lives up the road from me, and she had like a hypnosis gastric band. So she didn't actually have surgery, but she had hypnosis. And she said, the trouble is now I'm never hungry. And then when I eat, I get full really quickly. For me, that sounds like hell on earth. I love food. I love the types of food.
The social aspect,
I love, you know, the different flavors, and it can transport you different places. So for me, I was like, why would I do that to myself? But she said to me, she said, with you being bigger, does that affect how you show up? And I said, no. Because, you know, yes, I run my own business. Yes, I'm the face. Yes, it's me people see, but I'm no different in terms of who you're going to meet and what you're going to experience and the results you're going to get. Makes no difference if I'm in a size 10 pair of jeans or a size 16.
If anything, over the past year, I've seen you show up more. And that says a lot. And you aren't a personal trainer. You aren't selling health and wellness.
No.
Right? So therefore, you don't, Oh, it's just time wrong. You don't need to show up with a six pack.
No.
Right? You need to show up as you and be comfortable and confident in who you are, which is exactly what you do. And you share the I feel great and now I feel shit bits. Because that's showing up as your authentic self.
Yeah.
I know I'm an arsehole.
We love you for it. It's fine.
I've always been an arsehole and I always will be.
Embrace it.
Always comes from a place of love.
Yeah, that's it.
I think you shared a lot of really, really interesting nuggets and like stories there that hopefully that the women and even the men that are listening, and please share this with your women loved ones and even the women that you don't like, you might actually help them. We could probably talk about this for hours and hours, but I want to your time and our listeners' time as well. If you could put this into one tip, and I know, if you could put into one tip, what would be the one thing you would say to women to give them confidence in their own body? What could they do? What, do you like that? What could they do? Not what should they do? What could they do?
What could they do? Cut out the noise. Because actually the only person that ever matters in any one given situation is you. So don't let the opinions of other people change you in any way. As long as you're happy with what you've got and you are loving life and you are, killing it in all areas of health, wealth, and happiness, then it's irrelevant what other people think. And for me, that was the biggest game changer. And I will just drop in this quote because I am a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. But there was one quote that he
go on.
There was one quote he said that was essentially, if they ain't paying your bills, give those bitches no time.
Oh, 100%. And it's a bit like something I say, gratitude doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
You can be grateful for my stuff all you like, but unless you're actually going to pay, I can't pay my bills. So
that's it. Yeah. Or the other one that I saw recently, unless you're fucking me, feeding me, or financing me, I'm not interested. There we go. We can just end there. My job here is done.
I think that's a perfect end, because I need all three of those things right now.
I can provide you with none of them.
Laura, thank you so much for this. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. Yeah,
it's been brilliant. Thank you.
No, absolute pleasure. We are on the Confidence Mastery podcast, fans of online stalking, just not in-person stalking. So where can people follow you, find you, and learn more about what you do with PR with Perkes?
So the best place to find me is either on Facebook as Laura Perkes, on Instagram as PR with Perkes, or LinkedIn as Laura Perkes. Like, it's like I've just spent the last hour talking to you. I don't fucking know where people can find me. On social media, essentially.
And what is the name of your book and where can we find that?
So it is called How to Get PR and it is available on Amazon.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will put all of those links in the show notes. To everybody listening, I hope that you have learned a lot from Laura, that you take on board some of these things and learn to love your body and have body confidence, no matter what shape, size, or ethnicity, creed, color, race, or any of that nonsense that actually is irrelevant, because you are just a person, you're a human being in our own ecosystem. Please do find Laura, follow her, buy her book, and join her Facebook group as well, which is also called PR with Perkes, is it not?
It's also called How to Get PR.
How to Get PR, right, perfect. I'm in the group, I don't know the name of it.
It's irrelevant. You're not there for the name of the group, you're there for the experience.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Laura. Thank you to everybody that's listening. If you found this useful, please share it with your friends, family, loved ones. And as I've already said, share it with people that even that you don't like, because it might help them to be a nicer person and maybe you'll start to like them. So again, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you all, and we will see you on the next one.